Hey everyone, Amirali here with my first devlog for our game GGGVR. Before I begin talking about what I've done, it might be worth giving a little context about the game. We started designing GGGVR as a mixture between Doom and The Binding of Isaac, a fast-paced first-person shooter with roguelite aspects. One of our main early design choices was having the game play in VR. While this choice made our game very unique, it also came with many challenges. One of these challenges was with the UI, which is one of the tasks I took upon myself, and the main one I will be talking about in this devlog. While brainstorming and designing the UI, I quickly realized that creating a UI and HUD in VR is going to be much different than your conventional, more common FPS type. Normally, in an FPS, the UI and HUD will be on an on screen space overlay. Using this method for a VR game is not viable, as it would make the text hard to read since it becomes jittery while moving your head. Obviously, this will cause the player to get uncomfortable after a while. For a workaround, most VR games use a world space overlay. This creates the UI and HUD in the game world, preventing the before mentioned problems. One of the challenges with a world space overlay is making it blend inside the game world. For inspiration, I used games like Half-Life Alyx, where the gloves show the player's health, Arizona Sunshine, where the watch opens a hologram menu, and Dead Space, where all the things the player needs, like ammo, health, or stamina, are in the player character itself. All of these games use a clever and creative design for their in-game UI, like a watch or a hologram. So I decided to do something like that. For the code, I'll be showing everything that is connected to the HUD and the UI. So let's start with the watch UI. Use the Unity Engine UI here for. Um, we have a bunch of game objects. I'll set in the inspector, canvas, animation, and the current health of the player, which is health text, and a boolean I use to keep the state of the watch if it is open or not. First off, we only have an update. All we do first is we set the text of the health text of the UI to the current health of the player. So we'll always show the current health of the player, and we will check if um, this UI's uh, rotation is in between 260 and 150, and if it is not open, we open it. Here we check for the exact opposite angles. So if it is lower than 150 and higher than 260 and it is open, we will close it. And that is all we do for the watch UI. So here we have the player health script. First of all, we use a bunch of headers so it is nice and tidy up in the inspector. Here we have the HUD game objects. Here we have the health variables, the max health and the current health. And we also have the damage variables, the damage duration, which is the duration we take damage for, and the invincibility after we take damage. It is a serious field, so we can change it in the inspector. We start off with void start. First off, I set the damage indicator to inactive, and then I also put the player's current health to max health. And then we have the void update, which I will always update with the max health. So the current health will never go above the max health for when we heal and stuff like that. Then we have the take damage void. First off, we will check if the player is invincible or not. If they are, we will return out of the void and never take damage. If we, however, we are not invincible, we will take damage off of our current health from any source and show will show the damage indicator. If there is currently a damage indicator already active, we will start a cardine. We will cancel it. So we will cancel the coroutine if there's already one going on, and then we will start another one. If there's none going on, we'll start it for the duration we take damage for. If the current health goes below zero, we'll put the current health again to zero to prevent bugs, and we will uh, do the fade out when the player dies. And at the end, after taking damage, we start a coroutine called Become Invincible, which will make the player invincible, and I'll show you that later. Uh, so we have a bunch of voids, show damage indicator, hide damage indicator. For now, all it does it will set the game object to true and false. Later on, I will like to update it and have the damage indicator show where you take damage from. That's why they are currently voids. Then we have the fade out void, which will set the death HUD active and play the animation, which will slowly fade in, fade out. And then we have the fade in void, which will start the coroutine, fade in. Um, we use this to teleport the player from places. Here we have the become invincible coroutine. All it does, sets the invincibility boolean to true. We will wait for a few seconds, which is the invincibility duration seconds, so we can't take damage for those seconds, and then we'll set it false again, so we can take damage again. And here's the fade in anim, and this all this does is play the animation, wait for a few seconds, and then inactivate it again. The HUD, the death HUD. So here are some examples of how the code works in game. I'll be talking about how I could make it better, and during testing, I quickly realized that using this type of UI to show the health, or specifically the watch UI, isn't as good as I thought since it is a pretty fast-paced game. Obviously, the player wants to know their health on the go while they are fighting monsters, and they can't be waiting for a animation to open and turning their hand and stuff like that. So instead, I might just go for a simpler approach, like just showing the health on their wrist and repurpose the current watch UI for something like a menu for the map or the status of the gun or a general options menu for all the different options we're going to have in the game. I would also like a ammo counter to be in the game for when we get ammo. The way I've thought this out is the ammo counter will be like the one you have in Halo where it is on the gun itself. This will work really well with the way we have things right now, uh, where the UI is actually just part of the game and will fit really well, I believe, in the game. And at last, I would like to thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys are as excited to play the game as we are here at NEA. And please like and subscribe to see more from the other devs. Have a great day.